The late 80s weren't just loud, they were legendary. From stadium-shaking anthems to emotional ballads that cracked the charts wide open, these songs didn't just top playlists, they changed the game. Each track on this list comes with a story, some born from heartbreak, others from near death. But all of them left a mark that still echoes today. So whether you danced, headbanged, or air guitared your way through this era, or you're just now catching the wave, get ready to feel the fire. This isn't just a countdown, it's a front row seat to one of rock's greatest years. Number 10, Bad by Michael Jackson. By 1987, Michael Jackson had conquered the world with Thriller, but his next move wasn't to repeat himself, it was to reintroduce himself. Bad wasn't just a song, it was a statement. The track was inspired by the real-life story of Edmund Perry, a Harlem Honors student shot and killed by police. Jackson was shaken by the news, and the theme of perception, of being misunderstood, shaped the song's defiant edge. Bad was originally meant to be a duet with Prince, but the Purple One declined, reportedly uncomfortable with the opening line, "Your butt is mine." Produced by Quincy Jones and featuring a snarling guitar riff from Steve Stevens, Bad fused funk, rock, and pure attitude. Jackson's delivery was sharper, the sound more aggressive. This was no longer the moonwalking boy wonder. This was a man with something to prove. The Martin Scorsese-directed video was just as bold. Set in a New York subway and starring a young Wesley Snipes, the mini-film blended choreography with cinematic grit. It redefined music videos and Jackson's image. Released in September 1987, Bad shot to #1 in the US and topped charts around the world. It didn't just add to his legacy, it reshaped it. Number 9. Kickstart My Heart by Mötley Crüe. Sometimes you've got to die to be reborn. Nikki Sixx literally did, and this song was his adrenaline-fueled resurrection. After a heroin overdose left him clinically dead for 2 minutes, paramedics brought him back with an adrenaline shot straight to the heart. The next day, he wrote Kickstart My Heart. The song captured everything the band had become known for: volume, chaos, and survival. But this time, it was real. They recorded it during sessions for Dr. Feelgood after the band had cleaned up and sobered up. The energy didn't go away, it just got sharper. Produced by Bob Rock, the track kicks off with the roar of a revving engine, then rips into high-speed riffs and a talkbox solo from guitarist Mick Mars. Lyrically, it's part confession, part victory lap. Sixx's brush with death gave the band a new edge, and Kickstart My Heart became their way of showing the world they were still alive and louder than ever. The music video, filmed at Whiskey A Go-Go, turned their comeback into a spectacle. Released in late 1989, the song became a live staple and an anthem for adrenaline junkies everywhere. Number 8. Alone by Heart. In 1987, Heart delivered one of the most haunting and powerful ballads of the decade, but Alone didn't start with them. It was first recorded in 1983 by a little-known duo called I-10, and promptly forgotten, until Ann and Nancy Wilson got hold of it. Their version starts like a whisper, just piano and Ann's voice, vulnerable and raw. But then it explodes, and when it does, it's like a freight train of heartbreak. The band recorded Alone for their Bad Animals album, with producer Ron Nevison sculpting a wall of synths and soaring harmonies behind Wilson's vocals. It was a perfect storm: emotional storytelling, immaculate production, and one of the most commanding vocal performances ever put to tape. Released in May 1987, the song became Heart's second US #1, spending 3 weeks at the top of the Billboard Hot 100. It also hit the top 10 in the UK and Canada. The music video added gothic flair, but the power was already in the music. It was Ann Wilson at full throttle, turning a forgotten song into a career-defining moment. Number 7. Faith by George Michael. When George Michael stepped away from Wham!, few expected his solo debut to open with a rockabilly strut. But Faith wasn't just a new sound, it was a total reinvention. He wrote, produced, and arranged Faith himself. Recorded between Denmark and London, the song fused 50s rock charm with digital precision. Michael even built the signature guitar solo bar by bar in the studio, obsessing over every sound until it punched just right. Visually, Faith flipped the script. The leather jacket, aviators, denim, and that jukebox set the tone for a sexier, bolder George. He wasn't just shedding his boy band image, he was rewriting it. Released in October 1987, Faith topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 4 weeks and became the biggest US single of 1988. It was raw, rhythmic, and confident, an anthem of self-definition that crossed pop, rock, and R&B boundaries. Number 6. La Bamba by Los Lobos. La Bamba wasn't just a song, it was a cultural bridge. In 1987, Los Lobos revived the 1958 Richie Valens classic, turning a Mexican folk tune into a modern rock hit. And they did it without losing a single thread of its soul. The band was asked to record for the La Bamba biopic, a film that chronicled the short, tragic life of Valens, the first Mexican-American rock star. Los Lobos, East LA, natives rooted in both traditional and electric music, were the perfect choice. Produced to mirror Valens' raw, youthful energy, the track crackles with swagger. The guitar solo stays true to the original, but the vocals, percussion, and studio clarity gave it a new fire for a new generation. When the song dropped in June 1987, it exploded. It hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming the first Spanish-language rock song to do so in nearly 30 years. That same week, the La Bamba film topped the box office, a rare crossover moment of music and film. Number 5. Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle. By 1987, Belinda Carlisle had shed her punk rock past with the Go-Go's and stepped into a softer spotlight. But Heaven is a Place on Earth wasn't just a chart hit, it was a full-on transformation. Written by Rick Nowels and Ellen Shipley, the song was crafted as an anthem of love and hope. Carlisle had just launched her solo career, and this track would be the one to launch it into the stratosphere. Recorded at Ocean Way Studios in Los Angeles, Heaven leaned into shimmering synths, radiant harmonies, and a polished production that sounded like sunlight breaking through clouds. Backing vocals came from some serious names: Michelle and Chynna Phillips, Diane Warren, and Shipley herself. Released in September 1987, it became Belinda's first solo #1 in the US and topped charts across Europe. Her voice soared, the chorus stuck, and suddenly pop rock had a new queen. Carlisle was 6 months pregnant while promoting the song, and still hitting every note live. Number 4. Livin' on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. By late 1986, Bon Jovi had struck gold with Slippery When Wet, but their biggest hit, the one that would echo through arenas for decades, almost didn't make the cut. Livin' on a Prayer started with Desmond Child's real-life story. He'd once lived with a waitress named Maria, and their financial struggles inspired the now legendary couple, Tommy and Gina. When the band first recorded the track, John Bon Jovi wasn't convinced, but Richie Sambora brought in the talkbox, a guitar effect made famous by Peter Frampton, and reworked the bass line. The moment the talkbox hit, the whole thing lit up. Released in late 1986, Livin' on a Prayer hit #1 in early 1987. It didn't just top the charts. It became Bon Jovi's anthem, a rallying cry for every underdog with rent due and dreams still burning. John initially called it Just Okay. Today, it remains one of the most played songs in rock history. Number 3. Here I Go Again, Whitesnake. Some songs are born of heartbreak, and some transform it into glory. Here I Go Again started as a bluesy ballad back in 1982, written by David Coverdale during his divorce, but the version the world remembers, that didn't arrive until 1987. By then, Whitesnake had traded denim for leather and sorrow for swagger. The band re-recorded Here I Go Again with a sleeker sound, turning the slow burner into a full-blown rock anthem. And here I go again on my own. Adrian Vandenberg delivered a new guitar solo. The keyboards were trimmed, the energy supercharged. Coverdale also changed a key lyric. Like a Hobo became Like a Drifter. He didn't want a #1 song with people mishearing it as Hobo on the Road. Like a drifter, I was born to walk along. The Real Lightning struck on MTV. Directed by Marty Callner, the video starred Tawny Kitten doing cartwheels over 2 Jaguars. And suddenly, every teen in America knew the name Whitesnake. Released in September 1987, the remix shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. What started as a deeply personal song of solitude became the band's biggest commercial success and one of the most iconic rock ballads of the decade. Number 2. Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard. It wasn't planned, it wasn't on the schedule, but Pour Some Sugar on Me became the hit that took Hysteria from slow burn to full eruption. Late into the recording sessions in 1987, Joe Elliott was fooling around with a riff. Producer Mutt Lange overheard it, and stopped everything. That is a hit. What followed was a writing sprint, fusing glam metal with hip-hop rhythm and a chorus designed for 50,000 voices, built-in layers, guitars, drums, harmonies. The song was a meticulous production, and yet it sounded like chaos in the best way possible. It wasn't just meant to be heard, it was meant to be shouted. Released in the US in April 1988, it hit number 2 on Billboard and turned Hysteria into a 20 million seller. Strippers in Florida reportedly played it so much, the band joked it should have gone platinum on pole spins alone. Number 1. With or Without You by U2. In 1987, U2 wasn't just chasing another album. They were chasing a sound, something honest, emotional, and otherworldly. With or Without You was the breakthrough. It began as a rough demo, a moody, droning track that nearly got shelved, but producer Brian Eno urged the band to keep digging. Then, the edge layered in a sustained infinite guitar, a new device invented by friend Michael Brook. Suddenly, the song had a heartbeat. Bono, meanwhile, was writing from conflict. Fame had pulled him away from family. The lyrics, "My hands are tied, my body bruised," weren't poetry. They were pain. The tension between desire and duty became the core of the song's aching push and pull. With or Without You became the lead single from the Joshua Tree. Released in March 1987, it was U2's first US #1. Sparse, haunting, and patient, the track stood out in an era of maximalist rock. The video was minimal, just silhouettes and slow dissolves. But that only deepened its mystery. Bono said the song is about emotional claustrophobia, and decades later, it's still unraveling in the minds of listeners. There you have it. 10 songs that didn't just soundtrack the late 80s, they rewrote the rules. From Michael Jackson's bold reinvention to U2's emotional breakthrough, from Mötley Crüe's literal resurrection to Los Lobos breaking cultural barriers, each track proved that great music isn't just heard, it's felt across generations. These weren't just hits, they were moments. Moments that captured heartbreak, triumph, rebellion, and hope. And decades later, they're still making us stop everything when they come on. What's your favorite from this list? Did we miss a track that defined your 80s experience? Drop it in the comments. We love hearing which songs hit different for you. And if you're hungry for more deep dives into music history, hit that subscribe button. Trust us, we're just getting started.